Okay, Be'ezat Hashem na'aleh v'natzliach. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Lighthouse Project. We've been doing something very special here for the past few classes. We've been going into Avodat Hashem B'Simcha, finding a way how to feel the religion, to get out of the robotic, to get out of the head, and start to feel the religion. In previous classes, we've discussed the purpose of life, finding meaning, finding your personal path in Judaism. We went into depth into Emunah, prayer, the importance of happiness, being happy all the time. And all those classes were essential building blocks to today's lesson. All those classes were basically building blocks to getting you to the proper mindset, to the proper outlook. But now that the basics are out of the way, the time has come to get upgraded to a better version of yourself. A better you 2.0. Tonight, we're going to delve into character refinement. In Hebrew, it's called Middot. And the sharpening of one's Middot. And in order to bring out the best version of you, the best Jewish version of you, and to fulfill your ultimate tikkun. Because the point here is not to get what research, science, doctors, psychologists say. What does the Torah say? What is the best Jewish version of myself is what we're interested in. So in order to become the best version of yourself, you first need to know your roots. You need to know where you came from. You need to know what's your purpose. And you need to know where the starting point is so we can take it to the next level. We've touched on that in some of our previous classes. So we know more or less these first few steps. But tonight, I'm going to take it back to the beginning, to the real beginning, to Bereshit, to Adam HaRishon. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge tonight's sponsor, Avi Fralik, who is doing the sponsoring in honor of Gedalia, who helped him find his ultimate happiness by meeting Jamima Uzanan, his beautiful Kala. Amazing. Who is that happiness? I think they misspelled a few things over here. And to our Issachar and Zevulun sponsor, we have one gentleman from DJ Acquisitions, Joseph Dornbush, great young man who was so impressed with the class, was so touched by the concept of I'll go to work and I'll support the Torah learner, that he supports this class every single week. May God bless him with bracha, tzlacha, siyata d'shmaya, and all his endeavors. And Be'ezat Hashem, may he find his kala as well, along with all Am Yisrael. And also this is the refuah shlema to Menachem Mendel ben Sarabatia and Devorah Fega bat Hazel. Let's get started. Adam HaRishon. Adam. Adam, or the beginning of the human race, is a human being that was formed from mud and from a spiritual soul. It's a guf and a neshama, a body and a soul. The word Adam hints to you the purpose of Adam HaRishon, or the purpose of man. Adam comes from the word Adama. Adama means earth, ground. What happens when we put something in the ground? When we put a seed in the ground? It starts to grow. That's the purpose of the ground. You put things into it, and things grow out of it. So Adam, who was taken out of the ground, what's his purpose? To grow in life. It's in his name. A person needs to grow in life. Now he's got two elements to him, the guf and the neshama. The guf represents the earth, the physical, the animalistic aspect of man, and temporary. It's only in this world, the body. The neshama represents the spiritual nature of man, the eternal nature of man. In other words, the person's neshama is in this world and forever in olam haba. So those are the two ingredients in the human being. Body and soul. One is just for here, one is forever. In addition to that, man was given free will. Bchira chofshit. And free will is the freedom to choose between the animalistic inclination or a person's moral, spiritual essence. Again, it's the body versus the soul. And a person's success in this world, in the battle between the body and the soul, determines his place and success in the next world, in olam haba. So there's an age-old battle inside the human being. We're going to see a lot of it when you start to look and dissect the human being. You see that there's a lot of things that are polar opposites that are working inside of him. We just said body and soul. Now we're going to go to the second battle that a human being has inside of him at all times, which is Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov. The Yetzer Hara is concerned with the body. It wants you to pursue materialism, desires, pleasures. It's basically, he wants you to pursue a road to spiritual starvation and eventually spiritual destruction. That's his ultimate goal. Yetzer Tov is concerned with the soul. He's concerned with a person developing their character, Middot, getting good qualities, constantly evolving, constantly getting to a better version of themselves, becoming more godly, and more motivated with godly qualities, which leads, by the way, to true happiness and content feeling within life. In previous classes, only because I see some new faces over here, I just want to fill you in. We got into it and we realized that the Yetzer Hara, his whole goal is to have you focus on 5% of what really makes you happy. Everything else is nonsense. But he makes you think that 95% is important and 5% is not. Beautiful class that we did about that not too long ago. But Yetzer Tov wants you to focus in on what's morally or spiritually good for you, and apparently that type of happiness that you gain from giving attention to your soul, to your neshama, lasts a very long time. Creates happiness. Now, tonight we're talking about Middot, and you should know that working on Middot will make you happy. The more you try to refine your character, the happier you'll be. Failing in your character refinement, or failing in working on your Middot, causes depression, angst, unhappiness, and a life laden with obstacles. Just like if you go to an obstacle course. You can't go through an obstacle course just straight. Sometimes you gotta bob and weave. Sometimes you gotta jump. Sometimes you gotta go under. You gotta know which way to go. That's in life. In life, you have to acquire your character refinement, your little midot that help you go through life, bob and weave to get the skills. You're basically obtaining tools, obtaining a skill set on how to go through life. Many people think that they were born with everything that they need to know, and they don't need to change. It's me. This is who I am. That's not the Jewish mindset. It's the qualities and deficiencies that you've been given, but now you have to work with that. Explain that in a little bit. See, each person comes into the world with certain qualities and certain deficiencies. So it's a person's job to highlight, to promote his qualities, and improve on his deficiencies. See, some do the work and benefit from a rich, fulfilled, well-rounded life because they put in the work. And others find a life filled with difficulties that often lead them to quick fix tactics in their family, in their business, in their love life, in their personal decisions, and especially in religion. So working on your character is very important. Growing into a new and improved version of you is the highest level of serving Hashem. A person that takes the time to emulate Hashem, to emulate being godly in the way that they're acting, bettering themselves, it's the highest way of serving Hashem. So, how do you know? How do you know what's right and wrong? If a person is just born into this world, how does he know what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do? You know, we have some people that are walking through life not even knowing they're on the wrong path. People always like to say, I'm a good person. I don't hurt anybody. That's right. You can go through life being Switzerland. You can go through life not hurting anybody and thinking that your life is great and fulfilled. But tonight, we're talking about being Jewish and being on the right path. It's two different things. It's two different things. What's expected of other people and what's expected of us. See, tonight, we're here to find out if we're on the right Jewish path. And if so, if we're on the right Jewish path, how do we get upgraded? I mean, it's just so much that you can go on the same road before you just get uninterested or, just don't want to get unstimulated. Just doing the same thing, you become robotic, everything becomes just very basic. Where here we're trying to say, we want to feel. Feelings are amazing. Feelings are good. You want to feel. Feelings make you move. So we want to feel with Hashem. We want to get upgraded. We want to get upgraded a level or two in all aspects of my life. And working on your Middot will do that for you. So first, in order to start, you have to get a book called the Bible. And that's a book that gives you basic instructions before leaving earth. That's what Bible stands for. We also know it as the Torah. So the Torah is the divine instruction manual that explains in detail a Jew's purpose in this world, what Hashem wants from us during the short time that we are in this world, and how to achieve spiritual heights and greatness while the battle rages between the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. See, only through the struggle can a person be a true servant of Hashem and earn his reward. Because without free will, without choice, we'd be a robot. We'd be programmed. No choice, no power. You never feel a sense of achievement. I'll tell you a little story. There was this rabbi. He had a couple of students. And they were coming back to Hashem. And, they would come to the rabbi's class, they would come on Shabbat, they would come during the week. One time, one of his students comes over to him and goes to him, Rabbi, I can't come this week on Shabbat. And he tells him, why? He says, I just can't. I can't tell you why. You might get upset. He goes to him, I can't come this Shabbat. I just can't. He goes to him, it's not a problem. You don't have to come. Just tell me why. He goes, there's a soccer derby. So, soccer derby? What's a soccer derby? He says, well, these 4 teams that, are the top teams get together and they play for 90 minutes each, and whoever wins advances to the game, to the final game, and they play for another 90 minutes, and whoever gets the most points wins. So it tells you, so you can't come because of that? You just say, yeah, I'm a fanatic, I love soccer, I can't come. He said, but wait, why don't they do the same thing, but on a Tuesday? Let one team come on the field for 90 minutes and kick as many balls into the goal as many goals as possible. Then let the other team kick as many goals as possible into the for the next 90 minutes, and whoever gets the most goals will win. I said, no, Rabbi, it's no fun like that. The whole fun is when somebody tries to block you, when somebody tries to make you not score, to steal the ball. The whole thing is the game. I said, that's what life's about. That's what life is about. Yitzhak always trying to make you stop, not doing a mitzvah, not to go to shul, not to say a bracha. He says that's how there's a reward when you have a challenge. Otherwise, it's no fun. It's you're kicking balls into the goal. Nobody's there to block it. He says that's life. Life is like a soccer game. You're going to have opposition. Somebody's going to try to block you scoring in the goal. So, without the Yetzer Hara trying to get us, being a successful Jew would have no satisfaction. There'd be no drive. There would be no sense of reward or punishment. See, in this world, if you pay attention, the world is, the way it's created, there's a lot of polar opposites. In other words, there's no hot without cold. There's no good without bad. There's no sadness without happiness. There's no mitzvah without a chet, without a sin. There's no Yetzer Hara without Yetzer Tov. You gotta have both these things for things to work. Because if you don't have hot, how do you know what's cold? If you're not happy, how do you know what's sad? You gotta have this polar opposites in order to work off of each other. So let's just say that life is the game. And the Torah is the rule book. And each player is different, and each has different roles. Each one is unique. But how does it work? Well, let's start like this. There's Taryag mitzvot. There's 613 mitzvot that help us refine ourselves and our character. And the Middot, what we're talking about tonight, working on your character, are derivatives of mitzvot. There's a mitzvah, and from that mitzvah we learn many different things on how to perform this particular mitzvah. Now, each person has his own nature and their own character, as well as positive and negative qualities that form their behavioral patterns. And that typically comes from two sources. One is your parents. Secondly, it's from various influences that a person was exposed to during the formative years of their development. Family, friends, teachers, different experiences in your lifetime. That's a person's character. Some comes from your parents, some come from your influences. I can tell you right now that the proper Torah environment will enhance the development of good midot. There's a big difference between secular Jews and religious Jews. I want to say firsthand that I happen to live in both worlds. I lived for many years in this world and many years in the other world, and there's some big differences, especially in the children. It's very noticeable. You can say what you want to say, but a kid that's being raised with Torah, mitzvot, and ma'asim tovim talks differently, acts differently, thinks differently, and typically has a little bit more derech eretz. There's always exceptions to the rule on both sides. But I want to tell you, a home that is Torah driven, whether it's the parents or the children, has a complete different turnout when everybody's just winging it. Whatever happens, happens. And you just basically, like we said in some of our other lessons, copying and pasting different types of personalities, different types of personas that you see on TV, on the street, or wherever it is that people now pick up their personas. We have many, many Jews nowadays that you put them next to a Vinny from the Bronx, or a little Jose from Hialeah, and they talk the same, they act the same. Why? It's their influence, it's their environment. It's very, very noticeable. So, the Middot. Here's a list of some character traits. Now put in your mind right now, as I'm reading them off, start counting on your finger. That's me, that's me, that's me. But let's see how many Middot, and this is not all of them. This is just like a small list. See if you can check off some of these personality traits off this list. Start with the bad one. How about this? Conceited, jealous, greedy, hostile, grumpy, snoopy, possessive, aggressive. Are you nosy? Are you mean? Are you brazen? Are you infantile? Are you lazy? Nasty? Are you messy? Are you vain? Are you cynical? Are you arrogant? Are you antisocial? Now, you could say, I'm not to any of them. But are you a little? Do you have a little bit of that? Do you have a little bit of each one of those characteristics? Maybe just a little bit? Maybe. Let's see some of the good character traits. Are you moral? Are you spiritual? Are you diligent? Are you studious? Are you ethical? Patient? Generous? Sensitive? Genuine? Are you humble? Are you kind? Are you sincere? Are you happy? Are you polite? Are you honest? Are you friendly? Are you fair? Are you forgiving? Are you faithful? I could probably read 200 more character traits that are out there in the world. But you can see that a human being is a puzzle that is made from all these different pieces. Each little piece is a little character trait that is part of that human. Some are good, some are bad, some need replacement. And every time you change a piece, you upgrade your character. Every time you zoom in on something that is either good or bad, and you replace it with a better version of yourself, or you delete something out of your life and you start forming, again, that upgraded version of yourself, that brings you to the highest level of serving Hashem. That's what Hashem wants you to do. He wants you to improve your character. Also, trying to work on your midot and to refine your character is actually the best way to establish a relationship with Hashem. The more you work on yourself, the more you discover God. Because working on your midot means that you want to be godly. You want to emulate the good character traits of our Creator. So the more you work on yourself and you find out, this is bad because, this is good because, you start to understand that Hashem is great. Through your character, you realize that the Creator is amazing. And you find out by refining yourself. You find Hashem by refining yourself. See, each person is unique and each puzzle is different. And it's your life's journey, your life's work, to put the puzzle together one midah at a time. Thank God we got 120 years. But, before changing the world, because a lot of people have a lot of grand ideas about how the world should be, one should work on changing themselves. Change yourself. Refine yourself. And that will make the world a better place. Because a lot of the excuses that you get out there is that I'm like this because the world is like this. Because they do it. Because it's now socially accepted. There's a moral bar that everybody's following. In the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s, constantly changing. Every decade is a different thing that we're okay with, and certain things that we're not. And people always want to fix the world. Don't fix the world. Fix yourself. Fix yourself, and the world will be a better place. You'll change it, one person at a time. So, we're talking about character refinement, we're talking about Middot. How do we get Middot? It's very interesting. Shlomo HaMelech, the smartest man to ever live, who wrote the book of Mishle, says in Perek Bet, Pasuk Dalet, in the second chapter on the fourth Pasuk, I'll read it in Hebrew. Im tevakeshena chachasef, vechamatmonim techapesena, az tavin yirat Hashem, vedat Elokim timtzah. Literal translation is, if you shall ask for it, as if you're asking for riches, or if you're looking at for as if it's a treasure, you're searching for it, then you will understand the fear of God, and then you will understand God Himself. What is He saying here? He's saying this pasuk was speaking about Middot. How do we acquire Middot? Shlomo HaMelech says, search, look for it like you're looking for jewels. And then work diligently, work very hard in trying to find these character traits that you need to refine. And then you have to protect the good and emit the bad. In other words, take your character traits, the good you keep, the bad you kick out. And that will bring you to godly thinking and a godly connection with Hashem. Again, a lot of people want to find out, how do I connect to Hashem? Do I go to shul and donate 101? Does that make me that closer to Hashem? Do I go to shul, put on tefillin, and just bob for an hour? Does that make me closer to Hashem? Do I go to a fundraiser and I connect with more Jews? Does that make me closer to Hashem? Shlomo HaMelech, the smartest man in the world, says, you want to connect to Hashem? You really want to feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Start working on your character. You'll discover Hashem there. We're talking about a couple of age-old battles that are happening in the human being. Here's battle number 3. There's a battle between Ge'ava and Anava. Conceit and humility. Take a look at this. A person who's full of pride, he's using his God-given gifts to pump his ego. In other words, the person is good-looking, he's rich, he's smart, he has certain things that are going for him. He uses that to feel haughty. He feels good about himself. Look what I can do. And most of the time, a person who has gava, he attributes all his success to himself. So what I did, so how I closed that sale, you saw that building I built, you saw that car that I'm driving. He's always constantly giving his success to himself. Always feeling superior, a show-off, which typically creates jealousy amongst people that are around him. And just basically very heavily laden with pride. And that type of person that goes through life with gava, those blessings, whatever Hashem gave him as a gift, they turn into curses. And actually makes him grow further from God. Why? Because let's just say a person has a beautiful voice. He's a singer. He could use that to maybe be a chazan in shul, maybe do some things that are connected, give that beautiful voice to the Jewish nation. All of a sudden you see him, he's in studios trying to rap about this and that, all the different content that are in songs today. I mean, I can't turn on the radio. Not because I don't love music. I love the music. The beats are amazing lately, I have to say. But the words, I feel embarrassed. If like somebody's sitting next to me and I hear like a line from the radio, I turn red a little bit. It was not like that before, but it is. And if my children are around, if they grasp one word or one sentence and they ask me and I have to explain, it's very tough to turn on the radio nowadays. So imagine a person goes and turns his mouth filthy just to be famous in this world. Or he could have used that God-given talent to something holy. Person is in sales. God gave you the gift of gab. You're a good sales rep. You're a good salesperson. Go ahead. Do business honestly. Do business in a way where you can walk around with a kippah, do business, and say, you know what, that guy's a straight arrow. Don't be that guy that takes the God-given talent of sales and you find every loophole in the book of how to screw people out of money. That's gava. That's when you're conceited. The flip side of it is humility. Anava. Anava, this humility, is a result of one's awareness that everything that he possesses is a gift from God. Wealth, knowledge, honor, beauty, talent, whatever he got in this world is a gift from God. Usually a person who is anav is very appreciative, is very thankful, very humble, very happy with his share, and will actually use his talents to get closer to Hashem. A person will say, you know what? Thank God, God blessed me with a beautiful voice. You know what? I'm going to make sure that I work 6 days a week, but on Shabbat, I'm chazan in shul. Or, a person says, you know, I'm good in sales. I know how to make it happen. You know what? Let me take that talent. Let me open up some sort of fund for the needy. I'm sure I'll be able to get people to give some donations. I'll be able to make the money come in. I got the gift of gab. Why don't I start something that is going to help the community, going to help another Jew? He's taking his talent and he says, let me channel it to something that has kedusha. That's a person who's got humility. So you can see we just discussed 3 very basic battles. The body versus the soul, Yetzer HaTov, Yetzer Hara, Geava, and Anava, conceit and humility. I'm just touching the iceberg. We don't have enough hours in the month to touch everything. But I just wanted to just highlight a few things that we can relate to. We know people around us that act that way, talk that way, and think that way. So, I recently received a post that made me think. It's something like a funny little thing that you get on these groups. But you know what? It's very interesting. It says, do you ever wonder what would happen if we treated the Torah as we treat our smartphones? Let's understand. The Torah is everything for the Jew. We are the people of the book. Regardless of where you are, where you're holding right now, understand that the essence of a Jew is to get connected to the Torah. If you understand that now, great. If you don't, you should get there. If not, you should get introduced to that concept. The greatness of the Jew, the success of a Jew, is connected to that book that's in the ark. The Torah. Now, if that's a fact, that book is everything to us as Jews, what would happen if we treated it as our smartphones? So this is interesting. Would we carry it in our pocket all the time? How come we don't have a Torah in our pocket all the time? Would we look at it 10 times a day? How come we don't look at the Torah 10 times a day? Would we open it up and try to look for messages. Like, what's the Torah trying to tell me today, right? We're constantly checking messages. When's the last time we opened up the Torah and says, is there a message in here? Did you even think that you can open up the book and that maybe there's a message in there for it? Did you even have that passing thought once? That maybe Hashem wants to speak to me, I just need to open up the book, He'll send me a message. And by the way, I just want you to know, Parashat HaShavua is a special Torah portion that is connected to the spiritual energy of that week. You better believe it. If you pay attention to Parashat HaShavua and you read what's going on over there, it'll take you maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe on the 4th week, and you'll see God's talking to me. Because exactly what's going on in the parasha will be connected to what's going on in your life. There's a reason why we read that parasha on that week. There's something going on in the heavens that is connected to that weekly Torah portion, and if you tap into it, you'll get that message. So when it says over here, did we check it for messages? Talking about that, the weekly Torah portion. But the truth is, do we do that? Do we open up the book and check for messages? Do we use it in case of emergency? Like in case of, when people have emergencies in their lives. Marriages have emergencies. Families have emergencies. Businesses have emergencies. Did you say, you know what? I got a huge problem. Let me go to the book and see what the book says. Maybe I'll get some good advice from there. Or do we go straight to our phone? That was the post. I'm going to take it one step further. Each phone has updates, right? Get that message. Update your phone. Update your apps. You go to the app things, it's like 27 updates. Right? And what do we do right away? Of course, update. I need the fastest version of this tool. I need to be up to date. How come we don't do that for our lives? How come we don't wake up in the morning and we have like 27 Middot that we have to work on and say update? How come we don't press update on ourselves and say, you know what, you got to update ABC 1, 2, 3, here's your list. How come on the phone? Yes, for sure. But on us? When's the last time we woke up and said, today I have to update myself? How come the Yetzer Hara, how come his tool gets to be at optimum performance speed and optimum levels, and the Yetzer Hatov gets the unmotivated, lazy version of ourselves? Many times it comes to upgrading the neshama, it's like we become like this wilting flower that has no energy. Yet the Yetzer Hatov, we give it all the power in the world. Take it. Here's my phone, fully updated. That means anytime I want to do anything but Torah, I'll be doing it in lightning speed. Why don't we treat the Torah like we treat our smartphone? Food for thought. There was one time a rabbi that says, don't be a pickle. He would go around to people that would come to shul in your town. Don't be a pickle. In other words, what's a pickle? It's a cucumber. You put them in a jar, and you pickle it, and it can stay like that for 10 years. Don't be a pickle. Don't be stuck in your state of mind that doesn't serve your Jewish soul, your neshama, or your tikkun. Don't be spiritually frozen. Some people love to say, I put on tefillin, I go to shul on Shabbat, that's me. That's where the ceiling from my religiosity. Some say, okay, listen, I go to a class every once in a while, but Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, I got the best seat and I always buy the most expensive aliyah. That's how spiritually frozen they are. Nobody wants to upgrade themselves. Why not? Why not? Why are people so comfortable at being a frozen Jewish pickle? And what's funny is like the greatest source of their happiness is if they snap out of it. Do you ever see sometimes people walking around with bell bottoms and butterfly collars and platform shoes? That's like 30 years ago, right? But they can't let it go. You know why? That's when they were peaking. That was it. They can't let that feeling go. 2017, they still want to get that feeling. But, we moved on. We got upgraded. But imagine now, there's some people, if we could see their spirituality in clothes, they might be wearing Renaissance clothing, not even the bell bottoms and butterfly collars, or maybe some 1980s funky color clothes. You gotta step up the game. You gotta work on your spirituality. You'll renew yourself. There's times when people say, I've heard this many times, rabbis, they see a certain person, of course, with tact. Rabbis have a certain way about them. They know what to say to the right thing to say at the right time to the right person. In other words, one person tell them, thank you for coming, I'm so happy you're here. The guy comes once a year and he gets velvet glove treatment. Then there's a guy that comes every single day, comes to all his classes, he basically is part of the board of the shul, and the rabbi will tell him, what are you doing, you behemah? He'll call him an animal. How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you call the guy an animal? This guy does more than this guy. How come this guy gets velvet glove treatment and this guy gets that type of approach? Because rabbis know what to say. And when they say that, when they say you're behemah, you're acting like an animal, that means you're tapping into your animalistic side right now. You're not being spiritual. In other words, the guy is maybe in a wedding and he won't take a seat. He's standing by the buffet, one plate after another, one plate after another. He won't take a seat. The rabbi's looking at him, you're acting like a behemah. Take a plate, have a seat. You got a black hat on you. You got a nice white shirt. Sit down, eat, get up, get again, no problem. Act accordingly. But on that concept that there's sometimes a time when we call people behemah, keep in mind we were created on the same day. Animals and human beings. What's the difference? What's the difference between an animal and a human being? Very interesting. That's one of them.
Size of the neck, not the narrowing of the neck.
The instinct part is what I have here. The narrowing of the neck is a chidush. Look at this. Animals are completely physical. They're physical animals. The human being is physical and spiritual. Animals have very limited intelligence. Human beings have advanced intelligence. Animals function without thinking. Human beings think and can also make decisions for themselves and for others. Animals cannot speak. Human beings can speak and speak intelligently. Animals act on the basis of instinct. Human beings can behave ethically and have free choice. Animals are not responsible for their actions. Human beings are. Animals have very limited potential. Human beings have potential for greatness. So in your everyday life, which side are you leaning towards more? Are you more animalistic in your nature or more spiritual? What's your percentage? Are you 50-50? 70-30? What more sounds like the spiritual human being that we talked about? Is it you? Are we off? Are you acting more and more like a behemah, where everything is physical, don't do too many things with thinking, not trying to get spiritual, everything goes on instinct? This is how I feel. You know, one of the biggest things that people say, one of the biggest mistakes is, I don't feel like it. It doesn't feel right. I feel like doing this. I feel like doing that. People that go according to feelings means that something else is running you. Your feelings are running you. Not your neshama is running you. If you educate yourself, if you give yourself some knowledge, some Torah knowledge, mitzvot, Middot, that's what's going to drive you. But if you feel that if you're constantly saying, I don't feel like it, it's not a good feel, if that word feel comes off your tongue a lot, understand that has a lot more to do with your animalistic than your spiritual side. See, as a Jew, not only leaning towards spiritual, but you have to be spiritual and evolving. That's the goal. In other words, you have to be a spiritual person and evolving at the same time. In Judaism, there's no standstill. It's either you're moving forward or you're moving back. There's no standstill. That's how it is. Okay, so the journey to the better version of yourself will always lead you to the same place and to one book, and that's the Torah. We already established that. Simply put, the top 10 Middot, the top 10 character refinement traits that you can follow are the 10 commandments. Don't kill, don't steal, don't covet, believe in God, should not put any other God before you, respect your parents, so on. And the 613 mitzvot are the derivatives of the original 10. Now, this day and age, the minute you say book, the minute you say 613, people tune out. People don't want to do the work. Nobody wants to do the work. They want the shortcut. They want the express track to being spiritually ripped. They want amazing midot and to be fixed overnight. Don't talk to me about a book that's this thick. Don't talk to me about 613 that come from 10. That's it. You lost me. I'll tell you a story. There were two giants in the time of the Gemara. It's Hillel and Shammai. Two different ways, houses of thinking. Two different Torah academies. One was stringent, one was lenient. And Hillel, who was from the lenient academy, was once asked by a Gentile, teach me the Torah on one foot. Teach me the Torah on one leg. Right? Same as this generation. Teach it to me quickly. It's a famous story from Gemara. If you open up the Gemara Shabbat, in page 31a, you will find it. And basically, this guy was telling him, sum it up for me in one tagline. This whole book, this whole Torah, give it to me in one tagline. I don't have time. I want to know how I can understand everything in one shot. He initially went to Shammai. He threw him through the curb. He told him, he was known to be strict and stringent in the Torah, and the Torah learning, and he couldn't accept such an approach of a guy coming to teach it to me in one leg. Get out of here. Can't learn Torah that way. Hillel says, he answers like this, it's in Aramaic. De'alech sani, lechavrecha lo ta'avid, ve'idach pirushu, zil gamon. What does that mean? He says, whatever is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. And the rest is just an explanation of this. Now go study it. Wow. So there it is. There's the whole book in one tagline. In other words, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Whatever you don't want to be done to you, don't do unto others. The rest is just a derivative or an explanation of that. Now, go learn the rest. Wow. Wow. You mean I can wake up in the morning and look at every single person around me, and before I act, talk, or do any sort of interaction with them, I can just say, well, if that was done to me, would I be happy? And that helps me fix myself? The answer is yes. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That whatever you're doing, if you don't want if you don't want it to be done to you, you've begun your journey to fixing your Middot. And once you start getting into the swing of things, of practicing that day to day, you know what's going to happen? You feel good. You're going to want more. You know what happens? Go to another class. Then maybe open up the book. And you'll say, you know what, maybe I'll work on my anger now. Maybe I'll work now on my laziness. Maybe I'll work now on not being so neat. Maybe right now I'll work on not being so conceited, not being so chatty. And all these different things that people just take for granted every day. They're just doing it because it's accepted in our society or in the environment that we live in. But Hillel Zaken tells us, just don't do unto others what you don't want done to yourself. Now, I want to tell you something. The whole lesson today was actually just an introduction to my next class. Our next class will go deep into the two most important midot in life, which is love and hate, lust and anger. But I just didn't feel that we can dive into learning about Middot if we don't know what they're about, what's going on inside our bodies, why it's necessary. Because nowadays most people just want to say, leave me alone, I don't care. But you know what happens? At 70, at 60, sometimes even at 50, they become real bitter. You know why? They look at themselves in the mirror and they say, I missed the boat. And you know what happens? They really do care. They really do care. Because you know what? That car they had in the 70s, in the 80s and 90s, it's not making them happy today. That property that they owned in the 70s or 80s or 90s or 10 years ago, not making them happy today. But you know what's making people happy today? Go ask a guy that learned the Chumash 10 years ago. Is he happy today? Yes, he is. You know why? He can sit down now and have tremendous conversations with rabbis, with his children. He has things to say on Shabbat. He's spiritually elevated. Not only that, he's thirsty for more. He began a journey where his spiritual sustenance, the neshama's food, his neshama has been getting nourishment for years. So he gets happiness that he wakes up with every day. Ask that guy that ignored his soul for 20, 30, 40 years what happens. They wake up with a void, and they'll do anything to fill it. They'll do anything to fill it. They'll go on all the vacations, they'll buy all the clothes, they'll go to all the restaurants, and they'll wake up the next day still feeling empty. It's the spiritual nourishment that will make you happy. Now, we just laid down the foundation necessary to understand the character refinement. It's a must. And if we want to have a life that is meaningful and that is serving Hashem on the highest level, working on your midot is a must. Because refining your character actually makes you smarter, stronger, considerate, makes you honest, makes you caring, makes you calm, makes you collected, makes you focused. And it keeps you in control. Big chidush next week about control. Being in control and out of control. And it makes you a powerhouse of a Jew that can change the world, that can change a generation, that can change himself, the people around him, and even the heavens above. I'm going to leave you with this one last story. There's a rabbi called Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz. He has an amazing book called Sichot Musar. Musar is, again, the next level of Midot. We'll discuss it next week. And he has a story from this section that talks about Shavuot. Talks about there was a time when there was a drought and there was no rain. And, you know, everybody in the town or in the city was praying and praying and praying and praying. And nothing was helping. It got bad. It got really bad. I mean, it's been months, close to a year, even a little bit more than that. And they've used up all their reserve. Everything is dried up. People are starting to die. And this rich man came to the thinking, there's no food, there's no rain, I'm just going to die. What am I going to do with all my money? He says, you know what? Let me go outside and start giving it to people. Maybe the fact that I'll do tzedakah, it'll help the situation. Or, since I'm he felt like he was going to die from starvation or from the lack of the water or whatever's going on. He said, you know what? I'll give the money, maybe somebody else can use it. As he's doing this, he says, because we also know, very interesting thing, he said, when you give tzedakah, it activates the measure of rachamim in the shamayim. So he said, let me do tzedakah, then we'll activate the measure of mercy in the shamayim. As he's doing this, he comes across his ex-wife, which he hated. They had a bitter, bitter divorce. And she tells him, I have nothing. I have nothing. And she tells him her whole sob story of what's going on with her family, and how everybody's in danger, just like everybody else in the town, but hers was a little bit more. That man, that day, took all his money, and gave it to his hated ex-wife. So the rabbi sees this, and right away opens up in a wail of a prayer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who says, God, this human being, this man over here that broke his character, that broke his Middot, that he hates his ex-wife, went ahead and gave all his riches to her, and now he's supporting her. And he's not obligated. She's his ex. You, God, you are obligated. You are obligated to support the Jewish people. You're not going to give us rain? And right there and then, it opened up. And it started to rain, just like it's raining outside today. See, one person breaking his midot can save a generation of people. He went against, he could have just said, you know what, I've always hated you, never going to do for you, drop dead. He said, no, take it all. Take it all. As much as I have these feelings against you, take it all. Breaking your midot has a tremendous power. Breaking yourself, breaking your bad habits, and upgrading yourself to a more refined Jewish version of yourself is where you will find your true happiness, your true tikkun, your real success to gain entry to Olam Haba, and your real power to feel yourself renewed on a daily basis. Brand new every day. Brand new every day. What a feeling. What a feeling. On next class I will share a personal story about how I broke my midot, and how every day, because of that, I feel brand new. You can't pay. It's very hard to achieve that. And you know why that is? It's because Hashem gives it to you as a reward. When He sees that you're working on yourself, you know what He gives you at the end? He gives you the success. And not only does He give you the success, He gives you the happiness that comes along with it. The only thing is, you got to get turned on. You got to want it. And you got to put in the work, and then you get it. Hashem doesn't want bad for you, He wants good for you. But you can't sit on the couch with the remote control and Hashem, make me holy. It's not going to work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Again, don't be a frozen spiritual pickle, Be a brand new you. Be a brand new you your entire life. Your entire life, you're brand new. What a feeling. I'd like to end this class to saying, may Hashem give you the power and desire, the koach v'ratzon, to work on your midot. Out with the old, in with the new. May you form a strong, rejuvenated connection with Hashem, and reintroduce yourself to yourself. Reintroduce yourself to your family and to others, and reintroduce yourself to Hashem as the upgraded, invigorated, rejuvenated, motivated neshama, wanting to fulfill its purpose in life. Wanting to have a proud father in the Shamayim. Look at me, Abba, I'm behaving. Look at me, Abba, I'm doing the right thing. Look at me, Abba, I'm trying. Parents love that. Anyone who's got kids knows, as long as the kid's trying, he's good. Next week, Be'ezat Hashem will visit two huge polar opposites in this world. Love, hate, anger, and lust. שיטו ליבכם לחילה פס יגור מנותיה למען תספרו לדור האחרון. שהשם יברך אתכם ושמח אתכם. Thank you so much.